All right, joined now by Ken Ryan, KR Baseball Academy, former Paw Sox, former Red Sox. Grew up in Seekonk. Thanks for joining us, Ken. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Thanks,
All
John.
things considered.
Yeah, surviving, staying healthy, family's doing well, doing what we have to at this time, to
Right.
try to stay safe.
So before we get into the absence of baseball, for you personally running KR Baseball Academy, somewhere that baseball players can go, especially in the cold months, to get in some workouts and hit the cages. How has this pandemic hit you guys?
It's been tough. I mean, it happened right in our busiest time of year. February, March, and April, we're pretty busy with classes, with people coming in to hit, private lessons, rentals. And when it hit, it kind of came, we saw it coming, but we really didn't believe it was really going to happen. And then, so we've been down now, shut down for 2 months. So it's been tough.
And so we were just talking prior to this, you're hoping phase two, you guys will be part of that, maybe that gym group that gets to open?
Hopefully. I mean, we're monitoring everything. We're watching what the governor has to say. We're pretty confident that phase two would be our type of business. We'd keep all the social distancing guidelines in place. It's going to, do everything we can to keep it as safe for everybody coming in. But there's a lot of people out there right now that want to play baseball, that want to hit baseballs. And hopefully we're moving in that direction.
Now, as we were saying, as the weather gets nicer, people obviously can go outside more, but your facility offers, some amenities and resources that the local baseball field doesn't. So how, I guess, have you tried to adjust or with what's going on with the pandemic to make it worthwhile for players to come in?
Well, again, we would put all those like guidelines in place, making sure that everyone's 6 feet apart.
Mm-hmm.
All the staff is wearing everything that has to be done. We are going to do. And the way my facility is set up, there is the distance between cages is about 8 feet. So there's plenty of room for everybody to come in. We would have to limit how many people come in to hit. But we have 3 different speeds for baseball. We have a slow, a medium, and a fast. We have a slow pitch softball. Each token is about 20 pitches. So it's somebody came in, we'd also would have to limit how many tokens each person has so we can,
Right.
depending on how busy we were, to kind of have a good flow going through. But we've done a lot of thought about it. I'm pretty confident that the plan that we have in place is going to be a very effective, safe, number one, healthy for everybody to come in, do our best to keep, clean it, wipe everything down after every use.
Right.
But we're ready to move in that direction.
Now, baseball players, from little league all the way up to professional, such creatures of habit. Obviously, with springtime, you think baseball. How has it been, personally for you and people close to the game, just not having the sport to play and to watch, to turn on the TV every night and turn on the Red Sox and so forth?
I'll tell you, I tell you who I feel the worst for is those young players that are maybe 12 years old, their last year of Little League, and then next year they go to the Big Diamond. I mean, this is a big year for them in their growth for baseball, but just in general, I mean, softball, baseball, there's so many people out there. I see them every day that come in that want to hit, that take classes. A lot of teams, all the teams that have worked hard all winter to get ready for the spring, and then everything just to stop and end. Has been very disappointing, and it's tough. I keep telling everyone there's a chance that we're going to come back. Let's just keep working out, keep staying at home, keep throwing. And that's the other thing too. Once baseball does begin again, if it does, say in July, there's going to be about a 2-week period that players are going to need to get their arms in shape. So there's a little bit of like a mini spring training, so to speak, for the youth players too. So I'm holding out. I'm pretty confident that, we're going to be able to get back to playing baseball, maybe the end of June, my fingers are crossed, maybe the beginning of July, hopefully with guidelines in place and safety in place. There's still a baseball season yet this summer.
So you played in the big leagues with the Red Sox. Like you said, it takes time getting your body right or getting your arm ready. They're going to need like an adjusted spring training. What do you think is best suited for Major League Baseball right now to bring these guys back in the Red Sox situation in Fort Myers, have them work out at Fenway Park? And do you like this proposal of these mini divisions to cut down on travel? You just play those teams in an abridged 82 regular season game. What do you think about the status of MLB right now?
I think the status is they've got to get something done. All of those are definitely, doable. But if they miss out on this opportunity, baseball needs to come back for baseball's sake. For just for the sport itself, it has to come back. Hopefully, wiser heads will prevail here, and they'll come up with a decision to get this thing done. The players' union, the owners, everybody will see that this has to get done. There's a lot of things at stake here. If so, all those things that you mentioned definitely could be done. I think it's not going to be a normal baseball season. Let's be honest. But maybe there's an opportunity here to try some things to make the game better. Maybe this is a season where we can experiment a little bit and make things, try some things that can improve the game. But they're going to need some time. Major leaguers are going to need 3 weeks at least to get themselves ready. So, I'm hoping that they come back, and they need to come back for the sport itself. I mean, if they don't come back, it's really going to hurt them. I'll tell you one thing. And if basketball and hockey comes back,
Yeah, especially if baseball, I mean, people who don't like NASCAR are watching NASCAR Sunday just because it was competition on TV. And if baseball is the only game in town in the summer months, you almost can re-energize your fan base a little bit. Let me ask you something. You were in the big leagues around the 94 strike, right?
Yes.
So this is a little bit different than that. But what do you make of like the MLB versus the MLBPA? Now that you're 25 years removed from that, I guess what would you tell the players, because there's a pandemic going on? They don't want to sound irresponsible. Blake Snell's getting a lot of heat for his comments, but they still want to make as much money as they can. What would you tell those players?
I understand players and they want to make their money and they want to do the right thing, but there's a lot of people right now that are out of work. There's a lot of people not working. And how they say it, how they, when they're on camera and when they're doing these interviews, they are turning off a lot of people right now. There's a lot of people out there losing their businesses, may not be going back to work, that are worried, that are upset. And when then they hear a millionaire baseball player come out and say, well, I'm not going to come back unless I get my full salary, it's really mind blowing. It really is. And that's why I feel that, something has to be done with baseball. They've got to get their heads together. They got to get their heads screwed on correctly, and they need to get the game back out there, playing this game the way it should be played, and think about exactly what they say. I think what drives me crazy more than anything else. I'm 25 years removed. I'm a businessman now. I'm working. I'm working, making a living. I went on strike in 1994. And I was one of those players that did. But that was a totally different story. What's happening with this is totally different. This is something that nobody could help. There's a lot of people hurting right now, and people need sports. They need baseball.
Based on the Red Sox offseason and Mookie Betts leaves and David Price leaves and, the cheating scandal, Alex Cora is out. What do you make of the state of the Sox right now?
It's very interesting. And you got Sale and his whole situation, how healthy was he going to be? If anything, it's almost like a season that this could actually, as much as we want them to come back and play baseball, it's not, they're in tough shape right now. Let's be honest.
It's not the worst season to lose on there.
Yeah, right. There could be worse seasons to lose. It's not like this is 2004 when everything's in place to win. There's a lot of moving parts that need to be fixed. There's a lot of work to be done, I think, with this team. And that's what happens. I mean, they're a few years removed from winning the World Series. I mean, this is kind of what happens. Sometimes you have to take a step back, so you can take 2 steps forward. But there is a lot of things that need to be kind of worked on, and we'll have to see what happens.
And as someone who grew up in the area, this was supposed to be the Paw Sox final year. Celebrations were in store. We don't know if they'll play or have a season. And, if the Worcester Stadium isn't ready, do they play a little bit next year at McCoy? Similarly, a lot of things up in the air with the Paw Sox. What do you make of the status of, will we see baseball at McCoy again, do you think?
I think that is extremely disappointing. It's so from someone who was born in Pawtucket, grew up a Paw Sox fan, went there in the 70s. I watched Wade Boggs played there. I watched a lot of the greats come up through the Red Sox system. fortunate enough to play professional baseball, come up with the Red Sox, play in Pawtucket, play in Boston. I came back as a visitor to McCoy Stadium. I did games at McCoy. I broadcasted games at McCoy Stadium. So to be where they are right now, and I drive by that stadium just about every day, and I see it, and it hurts. It hurts that there's not going to be baseball like it was in Rhode Island. With what's happening right now, I don't know if there's going to be any games played or what's going to happen with minor league baseball. But what's happening in Pawtucket and what's happened in Pawtucket is it's sad. It really is.
And you did some Cape League games, right? Too.
I did. Yes.
And you did some high school. You did the high school baseball in Rhode Island, the state. So, I mean, all those things that you've done in June, July, and August of these years. I mean, is it just going to be a gaping hole this year of just like missing all of that for all of us who love baseball?
I think it is. I mean, I think number one, I understand what they're doing. I agree with it. It's about safety. They've got to make sure they get everything in place. But it's still going to be July before anything really happens. And then you're talking a shortened season. This is going to be a lost year, but maybe we can still have some baseball. I mean, maybe they can have a shortened season. I don't care if there's fans in the stands. Yeah. I just want to see a hitter up there. I want to see a pitcher. I want to see some defense. I want to see the game. That's what we love, and not at the major league level, but also at the youth level too. I'd love to see the kids out there playing. That is really important. A year without youth baseball, I mean, to take a step back and not have kids out there playing ball is going to really be difficult for the sport. So especially in this area, we need to at some point get the kids back out there playing the game again under the safety measures, making sure things are done the right way. And I think it can be done. I really do. And hopefully it can be.
Last time you were working with us was the 2018 World Series. What do you tell people, because the 18-inning World Series game that ended at 4 a.m. Eastern time, you were in the studio with Ruthie and Maury. I was in L.A. What do you tell people about that night waiting around for that game?
That was something else. I think it was like 5 in the morning, 5:30 by the time.
I think we signed off at 4:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay, it felt late, and a lot of coffee that night. That's for sure. But I was with some really good people. Ruth and Maury were great, and we had a lot of fun during the series. And it was a magical season and magical year. And that game there, really, I mean, the way that series went, it was a lot of fun. And
it's crazy that they lose that game, and you think the Dodgers have the momentum. And I think that was game 3 or 4. And the next night, the Dodgers were leading that game, and it was like, all right, this World Series is taking a turn. And then they just clean up shop in LA. So yeah, it's crazy that the most memorable game of that series is the 18-inning game, which they lost, and they ended up being the only one they lost in that series. All right, before we go, tell us about what you have on Facebook for, baseball players out there who want to see some drills or something.
Absolutely. We've got some videos on there that I've created, one on pitching, one on hitting, fielding, base running. We even have like a warm-up video, things to do to kind of warm up. I think they're 5-minute videos. Myself and one of my coaches, Jason Harvey from Elite Physical Therapy, we did them. We put them together. And then hopefully we'll have some clinics this summer. I'd like to say that we might even have a summer camp if things go accordingly, if we can. Limited number of campers, but we're trying to put things in place that we can kind of keep baseball going. And that's what we do here at KR Baseball.
All right, Ken, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate your time. And hopefully baseball will be back soon and you guys will be up and running. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, Johnny.